Okay, so today we are in the midst of chapter 10, which is looking at the assembly drawings or creating the assembly drawings for assemblies. Okay, so getting them in a format that they can be created, the right parts oriented and positioned so that in their final form, they're doing what we want them to do. So chapter 10 is all about, first of all, creating the templates or the drawing borders with the appropriate views, and then kind of maneuvering the balloons around and making sure that it's readable in its final state. Okay, so we are going to be looking at kind of the second part or the second half of this chapter 10, where we're actually going to be creating the template for the two-view assembly, including the bill of material, and then pulling in an assembly to create a two-view, and then kind of, making sure that the balloons and the views all look like nice the way they're supposed to. So what I'm going to do is I have my Creo already opened up and kind of fresh. So as we look at my screen here, you'll notice that I actually already picked my working directory. So even if you're going to be pulling things in, you always want to do that first, because then it'll always go back to that correct directory where you have things. So I have that already selected. And what I'm going to do is I am going to open up, my template. And I'm going to open up the template from the two-view part, the LTCA template two views. Okay, so it's going to be this one right here. And I'm going to do that from kind of the one that it was like a part drawing border that we created. So I'm going to pull that one in. Now, I am using the new LTC borders with the new logo on them. So if you wanted to start here as well, you're welcome to do that. Or if you wanted to work with the ones that you created earlier in the class, totally up to you. Okay, if you like the one that you did, you can keep it. But if you want to use the LTC ones, you're welcome to do these too. So you'll notice that here are those front and side view or right side view border that we created. So this would be one that we would use if we were just creating a part detail. But we need to add the bill of material up in the corner and all that kind of stuff, and change things a little bit on the views here. So first thing that we're going to do is we're basically going to rename this so that it becomes an assembly border or a template for me. So I'm going to go into Tools, and we want to make sure that this remains a template. So we're going to do a template. We're going to click on template here, and then we're just going to go up to File, and we're going to say Save As, and we want to save a copy because we don't want to save over the top of this one. We don't want to rename this one. We want to save a copy, and we're going to save it as LTCA underscore, and we're going to call it assembly underscore two views. And I'm going to put a 1 in back of mine because I've done this a couple times, and otherwise it'll tell me that it's not happy with me. So I'm going to do the two views 1, and I'm going to say OK. Now what it wants us to do then is wants us to close the one that's here. Okay, so I'm going to do a File, Close, and then I'm also going to go File, Manage Session, and Erase Not Displayed. Okay, so we want to get like everything kind of nice and clean. So this way, when we do that, the Erase Not Displayed, we don't have to go back out and start over. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, but this is a little bit faster because I do have my working drawing set, and you have to kind of go through that whole process if you X out of the program. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to open up that file that we just created. So we're going to say Open, and I'm going to go to my LTCA assembly two views 1. Okay, now you might call yours two views. All right, so here's my template right here. Now, what I need to do to make this an assembly drawing, I need to add my bill of material up in the upper right-hand corner. They have you also, in steps number 13 and 14, they have you change some things about the title block. We don't need to do that if you're using the LTC title block. Okay, I'm not going to change mine. So I'm going to go down to step number. We open. Oh, I have to go in and I have to do the template, sorry. So I gotta go to table, I'm not sorry. I've gotta go to layout, tools, and I've gotta go back to template because I'm gonna be changing this and then resaving it as a template. So I've gotta be in that template mode first. So do step number 11, but then skip down to step number 15. So now I'm gonna go to the layout, which is active right now. And I'm going to pick this front view, okay? And I want to go to properties. So I'm going to pick this. I'm going to go to properties. This is left clicking properties, and I get my familiar template view instructions here, okay? And then what I want to do is I want to go down and I want to make sure that all of my properties here match what they have here. So I want to go to view states. Make sure that orientation is front if it's not already there, and mine is. Then I'm going to go down to model display, and I want it as hidden line, which it is, tangent edge display, and I want to set this to dimmed. And then I'm going to uncheck snap lines, uncheck dimensions, because we don't put dimensions in assembly drawings, but I do want to check balloons. Okay, I want to check balloons. And then once that's all set, I can just hit OK, OK. So I kind of recalibrated this so that these have the assembly, settings, if you would. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here on the right side view. I'm going to click the right side view with my left mouse, click properties, and I'm going to go through that same thing. So view state, as is, model display, make sure it's hidden. Tangent edge, we want this to be dimmed. Unchecked snap lines, unchecked dimensions, and check balloons. Oh, it says leave balloons unchecked. Okay, all right, that's fine. Oh, because we want them to all be in one view as opposed to any, and we don't want them to repeat. Okay, so then we're gonna hit OK, and then we're gonna close template view. Okay, and then we're gonna hit File, and we're going to hit save. So now we have everything, saved as is. Now what we want to do is we want to add our bill of material table. So we're going to go up to table, tab, we're going to go to the table over on the left-hand side here, and we want 4 across and 2 down. 4 across and 2 down. And then we're going to place this. Now this gets to be, we might have to move it around a little bit. We want to place it so it's up in that corner. I'm going to go with something like this, but then I'm going to have to kind of zoom in and see how I did. I'm going to go like this, come down here a little bit. Oh, I did actually really well. I am going to move it just slightly, make sure it's on the line so that there's not a gap, okay? Okay, so now we've got that. So that's table 1. Then what I'm going to do is once I have that oriented, I'm going to click over here on the table, and I'm going to hit the properties. And I want to make sure that I set my origin so that it's in the upper right-hand corner. That way that corner like anchors it in that upper right-hand corner. That's what we're doing here. And I want all the widths. Now I personally like 0.7 for all the widths. If you want to leave it at 0.5, that's fine. I just think it gets a little crowded with the titles later on. Okay. And then we want to pick the second column. And we're going to do the properties here. The whole thing selected yet. I want to just do the second column. Properties. Cancel. Am I picking the wrong thing here? Yep, I am. This one. I got not properties. I want to use the width and the height. That's the one that I want to use. And I want my width for this one. I believe it's having us do 2 inches for this one. I'm going to put 2.5, give it a little bit of extra for the description. Okay. And then for our third column, again, do the height and the width one, not the properties like I was doing. And I'm going to put 2.0 because I think it has like 1.4 for that third column. So I'm giving, again, a little bit of extra room. All right. It doesn't take up much more extra space. And then the 2 over there are going to remain in the same spot. Okay. So now, let me see, double click on there. We're going to zoom in, make sure it's on the corner there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give each one of these headings. So So I'm going to double click here and I'm going to type item. Make sure you do capital letters. In this particular book, for some reason, they use upper and lower case. I'm going to put, it says name or description. I'm going to put description. And then I'm going to go down here, then go part number. Now, just deal with number for right now. As we do drawings going forward, we're gonna change. We're gonna make sure that when we save things, they're going to be a little bit more strategic about that. But I don't really care for putting the type, I think, or component type. It's not something you're gonna do on an industry. Oopsie. Okay, so I've got my quantity, my item, description, part number, and okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to select repeat region. Okay, so we're going to go here. I just want to be sure. I just want to make sure and select. Oh, they want us to do a really quick save. I guess that's not a. We'll do a quick save, and then we're going to do repeat region. And then we want to do add simple, and this is where we have to select that most left lower cell here, and then we're going to go over here underneath quantity, the second line right there. Now it didn't look like I did anything, but we're going to trust that we did. Then we're going to scroll down and we're going to say done. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click underneath item. And if I did this correctly, you're going to get this report symbol, okay? So we want RPT, and then we want index, and that's going to be the balloon number. Then we're going to do the same thing in description. We're going to double click on description. We're going to go to ASM, and we're going to go MBR, and then we're going to pick name. And then under part number, we're going to click ASM, MBR, and this one we're going to do PTC common name. Okay, going forward in the common name, we're going to start putting a part number in our parts, and then that way it'll populate here. For right now, for these assemblies, it won't do that, but it's really more suited for what you're going to see out in industry. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, RPT, and then this one is going to be QTY for quantity. Okay, so that is there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to draw an imaginary box around this. So you're going to just click up in the upper left, drag to the lower right. And then now we're going to right click and we're going to go to text style. And in this box, down underneath note or dimension, we're going to switch this to center from horizontal. The horizontal should be switched from left to center, and the vertical should be middle. And apply, and then OK. All right. Then we're going to go back up to layout. Table. Then we're going to do the repeat region. We're going to select attributes, and then we're going to select that second line here, and we have to say no duplicates. No duplicates. And then we can say done or return. Okay. With the repeat region still selected, we're going to go to create balloons and create all balloons. And then pick the second row. And then we should be all set, I believe. Now we can go up to File, Save. Okay, all right, now I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna go File, and what we wanna do is we want to go to File, Manage, and we wanna delete all the old versions. Because as you know, Creo has all those old versions out there, which is nice, so that if you have to go back, you can. And then we're gonna hit File, Close, Close. And then we want to go to File, Manage Session, and Erase Not Displayed. Okay, Now we're going to use that very same template to create our assembly drawing for the take-up frame, that take-up frame actually sub-assembly, okay? So we're going to start a new file, and we want to make a drawing, and we're going to call this take-up frame assembly. Take-up frame assembly. I'm going to put 1 on mine because I know I've done this before. And common name, I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's, I'm always going to put my part number in that common name from now on. Then I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to browse. And I'm going to find my take-up frame assembly. Take-up frame assembly. So it's going to have an ASM in back of it. I'm going to hit OK. And then for my template, I'm going to browse and I'm going to pick that template that I just created. And I want my assembly to view 1 is what I called it. Open. And I'm going to say OK. All right. Now, you'll notice that what we want it to look like is going to be at the bottom of page 358. So if I go over and I look underneath here, I want it to actually look like this. I want like a top view, if you would, and a right side view. But right now I have a front view based on how I drew it and a right side view, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, okay? And I'm going to change the properties of that view, all right? So I just want to activate that front view. And I'm going to change that view then to a top view, okay? And I'm going to hit apply. And then it says modifying this is going to change the orientation. Yep, that's okay. Okay. And then I'm going to hit okay here. And sure enough, now it's in the right orientation. But there's a whole bunch of junk in there, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of our planes. So I'm going to select or unselect all those guys. So that did a huge favor in cleaning that all up really quickly. And now what I want to do is I want to arrange my balloons so that they look a little bit nicer. They're kind of crossing each other and not in great spots. So here, what I want to do now, in the book, they suggest that try to kind of put them in numeric order in terms of, you know, like reading them counterclockwise. So if we look at, for instance, on page 363, our goal, now it doesn't have to be perfectly like this, but our goal is going to be to arrange them, let me focus here a little bit, is to arrange them so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of going in a counterclockwise direction here around, okay? Does it have to be perfectly like that? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I think it's like a nice guideline and something to shoot for, but we don't have to do it that way. So I am going to try to duplicate this, what we see there, and see if I can do it. So number 2, so to just move the actual balloons themselves, we're going to click on them, okay, until they highlight green, and then you'll notice that I have the ability here now. Got these 4-way arrows, and if I drag and I put that, you know, where I want it to go, again, I'm going to kind of put it where I think it should go. So I'm going to just kind of move these first, the balloons themselves. I'm going to put, oopsie, this guy up here. So you've got to select it first so it turns green, and then it's going to get those arrows. I'm going to put the number 1 over here, 3. We're going to kind of put on the side over here. I'll move 2 now, so it's right about there. Okay. Now, the problem, though, right now is that the arrows aren't pointing to nice places, right? So we want to change that. So I'm going to first select number 1 here. And then when I do that, I am going to right-click, and I'm going to say Edit Attachment. So it's kind of a slow right-click, Edit Attachment. Now I get two menus that show up here, okay? This one I'm not going to worry so much about. What I'm going to do is I want to change the reference, and I don't want to click that until I take this and I actually move, change reference, and I want to, oh, I don't have to drag it. I can actually just click where I want it to go. So I want it to go like right there, okay? Now, I can only change one at a time. I can only change one at a time. So I need to say done and return, and now 1 is done. Now I need to do the same thing for number 4. and I'm going to right slow click, edit attachment, and I'm going to click right about here to change that one. And then I'm going to say done and return. Okay. Same thing for number 2. Slow right click, edit attachment, and I'm going to click here-ish, maybe here-ish, a little bit right there. And then I'm going to say done and return. And then the last one is number 3. I'm going to scooch it so it's just a little bit more on the corner here. Right click, oopsie. One more time, because if you don't get it so that the menu comes up, there we go, edit. And I'm going to click right on that radius, the outside radius there. That'll be good. Done and return. Okay. And now I'm going to reevaluate, are my balloons where I want them to be? Right about there-ish, looks good. Now, one last step that you can take that I've been having luck with, on and off. So I'm hoping this works. So the last thing they want us to do is kind of select that front view, and we're going to right click again. And instead of doing the edit, we're going to actually do cleanup bill of material balloons. And what it's going to do is it's going to kind of put them all around about the same space away from the view itself. So I'm going to hit OK here and hope for the best. It worked. Okay. Sometimes if you don't get, for instance, when I clicked on the number 3 here, and if I only get this little balloon one, and it's probably not going to do it now, edit attachment. If you end up not getting this menu over here, and you move things around, it looks like it's gonna work, but then it actually doesn't. You have to have this menu appear, and if you click on this, and it kind of does like a shortened version of it, done. Does a shortened version of it. I think it's going to do it right now. Notice how I didn't get that this time, and I don't know the difference because I'm still doing the right click. I know that if I move this, it's not going to go where I put it. So if that happens, just hit cancel, try it again, and see if you can get it. Maybe go off of it, go back on it. And I don't know what I'm doing different, but sometimes it works. I got to get the bigger, wider menu, then it works. Again, I'm clicking on it. I feel like I'm doing the same thing each and every time, but make sure that you get this menu manager, okay? All right, so I'm going to do done, and I'm good to go. Okay, so now I've got my balloons placed, and then the next thing that I want to do is I want to add center lines. Want to make sure that these holes have their proper center lines in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the front view to start off with, and I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to click on show model annotations. Okay, and I'm going to go all the way to the right on my menu here, all the way to the right. This is the center lines. Okay, and what I'm going to do these, I'm going to click on, in this case, the circle. Okay, and I again found that I have to do this one at a time. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click this box where it says show. And once I do that, it stays there. If you click to the next one, it's going to remove the previous one that you did. You have to keep saying show. So now I'm going to click on the lower right one, show, and then notice that it goes from red to black. So it's red right now, show. Okay. Now I also have center lines that I want to add that are going through here. So I am going to click on the nut holder, and I want to actually get to the actual hole, but it's not selecting the hole, it's selecting the outside. So I am going to right click here, and I need to click on pick from list. Pick from list. And where's my list? Oh, my list is down here, okay? Sometimes it'll be in the upper right, sometimes down there. And you'll notice that right now what's highlighted corresponds to the outside of the actual nut holder. If I go to the next one here, see where it says hole 1? I actually want to hit OK there because I want now to show the center line going through there. So you can see where the center line is, and you want it to show, and you want to hit apply. Then we're going to do the same thing for the upper plate. I'm going to click on the upper plate. I'm going to right click, pick from list. Here this is, and I want to go to the whole of the upper plate. You can see where it's red. I want to hit OK, show that center line, and apply. Okay. Then that should do it for my front view. Okay, so I'm going to click out of this. I'm going to click on the right side view. They show annotations, and it's over on the right-hand side here, or on the left-hand side. So now what I need to do is I need to add my center line for this hole right here. So I'm going to select this, right-click, pick from list, and I need to, oh, here it is, lower plate. I think it's this one right here. I'm going to hit OK, and it put the center lines in for both of those in that one. Then I need to do it, and what I need to do, show, and then apply. If you don't hit the show over here, they're going to disappear once you go to the next one. Then I need to add it here in my nut holder. So I'm going to click my nut holder, right click, pick from list, and I need it to be the hole. There it is. And then OK, and there it is. Make sure you hit show and then apply. Okay, so now I need to do the very last one on the upper plate up here so we can see that one. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to right click, pick from list, and I need the upper plate hole. Right there it is. And I'm going to hit OK, show, and apply. Okay, now I'm all set. Now I'm all set. So my center lines are in place. My center lines are in place. Now, something I want to let you know too, like as you look here, the hidden lines, they are actually there, although they look kind of like, if I zoom in, I don't see the dashes, right? But if you want to make sure that your line types are correct, what you can do is you can go over to File and then do Print, and then I want to do a preview, okay? A preview. Now, I'm not worried about where it's centered, but now notice that all of those like dimmed lines, they now changed to hidden lines, okay? So you are okay, even though in the actual view it doesn't show that they are hidden, okay? So I'm going to close out of this print setup, so I don't need to worry about that, okay? And then I think that's all that I need, okay? Now, if you wanted to fill in the drawn by, like if you're using this particular drawing border, you can put your initials in, you can put the material in. The material actually is noted, it would be, because it's going to be from the bill of material, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Now I can do a file, and I can do a save. So I've got it, and then I can hit OK. And then all that you're going to do here is you can do your Alt-Shift-S, and you can, oops, did I not do it? Alt-Shift-S.
Windows Shift-S.
Oh, Windows, yes, I'm sorry, thank you. Windows Shift, I just did it just last hour. Okay, and then we can get our model tree in here all the way across and show your assembly, and then put it into a document, and then export as a PDF, and then upload as we've been doing to the Dropbox, okay? So that's getting your, number one, getting your 2-view assembly, bill of material, drawing border all set, and then pulling in a 2-view, this take-up frame to kind of play around with the balloons and such. Okay, so these 2 tutorials that were in here, so this is one of 2, and then the first one is the swinging link where it did a 3D view that was ballooned. These 2 tutorials are due by the end of the day tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our calendar here. So at 11:59 tomorrow, these 2 tutorials are due. Then I have assigned for you the assemblies that we worked on from chapter 9. at the end of the chapter, you have 10.2 and 10.3, 10.5 and 10.6, 10.8 and 10.9, and then 10.11 and 10.12. Sounds like a lot, but all you're doing is you're pulling these into the drawing borders that would match up. So either a 3D view or a 2D view, and then making sure that your bill of materials populate, and then cleaning up the drawings so that when you see the balloons and everything, it's nice and clean and easy to read. So really going through that same process on, I think it's 4 assemblies doing 2 each. If we look at our learning plan in chapter 10, the homework, these are listed. So again, it looks like a lot, but actually it's getting that practice of pulling them in and cleaning them up is really what the focus is here, okay? Tutorials are due tomorrow by 11:59, and the problems themselves are going to be due at the end of the day on Thursday, okay? So tomorrow what I'll do is I'll probably take 1 or 2 of those assemblies, and then we'll pull them in and kind of give you a demo on making sure that you understand how to maneuver those around and get them nice and cleaned up so that they're in their final form. Okay, any questions for right now? All right, so then I'm going to let you work the rest of the day with your focus hopefully being on making sure that those tutorials are taken care of. If you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate. Let me know how I can help you, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.